Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sabah khair ya ikhwa. So this morning, we wanted to do a book review of a new book that came out. You're all well aware of the other new book that came out the other day. The Moon on the One Who Lives a Prayer. Excellent book. And normally we like to try to do a book review. However, in this book, I think unless you're a new Shahada, I believe that most of the Muslims understand the consequences of abandoning the prayer. However, with this new title here, we are aware that many of the Muslims who have been Muslim for some time are not aware of the danger of innovation and the innovative principles upon the religion. And why it is you find and you see that those from Ahlul Sunnah are often, harsh and stern against bid'ah. And why? This book helps the Muslim to understand why. So we wanted to share with the Muslim Ummah this because everyone seems to be interested in the book about leaving off the prayer. Alhamdulillah. We should also be interested about the danger of innovative principles. So we wanted to share some of the table of contents. So as you see here, it begins with first defining what a principle is. We know that in the Arabic language, you have the literal meaning, you have the Islamic meaning, and you have the technical meaning of words. So here, it gives you some of the background of what a principle is, regardless of dealing with Aqidah or Minhaj or whatever. When we talk about the religion, we talk about our principles. Everyone talks about principles, and I do this because of a principle. The Salaf had principles as well. And this book goes on some of the principles concerning our position towards innovation. So the second section, it goes into one of the principles that's mentioned, is the principle of essence and accident. And I'll let you get into the details of it. I'm not here to explain the book. I'm just here to share the context so that we could be aware of the book. The second principle is when the intellect, meaning your mind, when it conflicts with the text, meaning the Quran and the Sunnah. When something you think in your mind and your opinion, and it's in contradiction or conflict with the text. So this is a principle that we need to learn about. That the intellect is given precedence over its text and its meaning and its effects upon Aqidah. So this is when the person start putting his own opinion and idea or thought process above the divinely legislated text. We often see that principle practice, that innovative principle of trying to explain away something from the Sunnah or from the Quran using some modern day idea or ideology. So this is why this is important. The third principle is about that the Salaf are safer and more knowledgeable than those who came after them. And that's clear. The closer you get to the time of the Prophet ﷺ, you find the religion becoming more pure, more pristine. And as we find us going farther and farther away from the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the time of the Salaf, we see the religion becoming more diluted. We see the quantities increasing. However, we see the quality decreasing. This is something that has been legislated and reported in the defined text. The fourth principle, not accepting the Khabr al-Ahad in the field of Aqidah. This is a very important subject, Muslims, because, alhamdulillah, we learn how to pray, we learn how to fast, we learn how to make hajj. You also need to learn about the evidences for our Aqidah. And this is where we find some of the deviations resulting from individuals who don't accept certain narrations because they consider the Khabr al-Ahad. And then because of this, meaning, and the definition of Khabr al-Ahad is something that you have to learn. Again, this is not meant to be a lesson. I'm not a teacher. I'm just sharing the contents of the books and helping the people to know what the subject matter is. And the Khabr al-Ahad is a subject that a Muslim should know, because we find contention amongst the Muslims in the area of Aqidah and Fiqh regarding the acceptability and the reliability of a Khabar Ahad. So you need to know what that is in order to know what's going on. The fifth principle is that the principle of excusing. We unite in what we agree upon, and we excuse another in what we differ in. I'm not even going to touch that. I will just say that's the hallmark of the Ikhwanul Muslimun that we find creeping into the ranks and the ideas of some of the brothers who attribute themselves to the Minhaj al-Salaf. The sixth principle, the principle of balancing good and bad and criticism of people, known as al-Muwazina. This is an innovative principle that was innovated in order to try to defend the people of innovation, to make people's hearts soft towards the people of innovation. So when they are warned against by the scholars, you see some people mentioning the things that they do that are good in order to try to minimize the deviation and make it something light. The seventh principle is that we correct and we do not disparage. We correct and we do not disparage. SubhanAllah Azeem. I'm not even going to talk about that. It says the eighth principle, the principle of verification. Okay, this is important here because news come from all different angles. We hear a lot of things shared, but the principle of verification is important. The verification of evidences, verification of narrations, what things that are witnessed, things that are said. This is important. So here to summarize, because our intent was not to make this long, but because there's 13 principles, we'll briefly run through these, which is the rejection of disparagement if it is not convincing. This is the danger this is a danger of innovative principles. This principle of rejection of disparaging if it is not convincing. Now, who from amongst us doesn't need to learn and understand how to apply that? How to, when you hear a certain criticism and you're not convinced, what do? So you can read this book and inshallah get some clarity upon what the Muslim does in that situation. The remaining is applying that which is general to that which is detailed concerning the speech of those who are not infallible. The 11th principle is we don't make our differing concerning other than us a reason for differing between us. SubhanAllah. And the 12th principle is that whoever does not declare an innovator to be an innovator, then he is an innovator. Whoever does not declare an innovator to be an innovator, then he is an innovator. This is your religion. This is the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So save it for when you go and you study the contents of this book. Save your opinion, your ideas about these subjects until you have studied and researched to see what your Lord has said about it and what your Prophet has said about it, so you can be upon clarity in your religion. That's why I really like this book, because it brings clarity in the area where many of us are unclear. Principle is, the faith has no benefit alongside a major sin. So again, this book here, The Danger of Innovative Principles by Sheikh Hassan al-Mardawi, is available here at Ibrahim Books and other stores. We suggest you get your copy, that you study it, you read it, you benefit from it, you share it, you teach it, and inshallah, it'll be beneficial for us as a Muslim ummah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.